Hello, everybody. Coach Rahti here of Creative Calling Coaching for the second part of my twice a week COVID coping live stream. And many of you have been very faithful in watching. So you know, and bear with me as I say to anybody who may not have watched this before, I usually kick these off with, do I have it here? Yeah, I usually kick these off with a card pulled from my Kabbalah deck, which is comprised of all the Hebrew letters of the alphabet along with the 10 Sephirah of the tree of life. Each of these elements has its own unique meaning, and it's been my way in terms of connecting to my own spirituality as a Jew, which is rather late in coming. And I'm not like highly formal about it in any way, but Jewish mysticism and the Kabbalah resonates well with all of my philosophical background and experience as a meditator with both Hindu and Buddhist training. So it's nice to be finding a way to connect to what I was born into anyway. So hello and welcome. Actually, I'm a coach and I work with people with ADHD. I work with artists. I work with creatives of all stripes, people with focus problems who have something they want to say in the world but can't get out of their own way. So I help them with that. And often it has to do with focus, with the ability to focus. Speaking of focus, let me focus on what it is I want to talk about today. And I'm intrigued by the particular card I pulled because what I wanted to talk about was the blessing of sameness. We are in a very interesting time in history right now. We are all prisoners of a sort, I guess you could say, of not just routine, but relentless sameness of time and place and space. There's no escape. There's nowhere to run away to. And yet I have found this to be a very, very rich time. It has been a time of tremendous growth in my business. I'm fortunate enough to have always worked from home. But there's something about not having to leave the house except to walk the dog that has caused me to really notice the daily shifts in energy that have nothing to do with me. They have to do with the time of day, where the sun is in the sky. It's a more natural way of being, and noticing how my energy syncs with that. And that's what I mean by the blessing of sameness. Getting to know your own rhythm with no rush, no deadline, no distraction, essentially. So I was very interested when the card that I pulled was Netzach. And that is because it has to do with sensuality. Not sexuality. Yesod, which is another Sephirah on the tree of life, pertains to that. But what the mystics call bodily gladness. Bodily gladness. And I'm realizing as I speak that this has everything to do with the sameness I'm talking about by extension. Because what I'm noticing is there is a pattern to my day. There is a rhythm to my day in terms of when I do the work I do and how I do it and how I wind down at the end of it. And in terms of feeling alive, this particular Sephirah is really beneficial to contemplate as an antidote to boredom feeling hemmed in, feeling constricted, all of these things that we're experiencing during quarantine. And the solution to all of them is to get into your body, is to be in your body, which is another way. I think that's another way of saying bodily gladness. It doesn't mean without pain, incidentally. It just means being here, being present in your body. And the ways that we experience that, I think in the Chariots of Fire, the character, the priest who was a runner said, I run because I like to feel God's pleasure running through me. The way we get in touch with Nitzach, which incidentally also translates as victory. The way we get in touch with Netzach is through running and jumping and laughing and eating delicious food and drinking, and whether or not we're talking about drinking to get a buzz or just enjoying the flavor of the beverage or feeling your thirst being quenched. This is all the blessing of Netzach, the blessing of our natures when we allow ourselves to land and be in our bodies. It is a vital element of earthly existence. And I think in the sameness that we are all sharing, and everyone's is different, there are numerous variations, I'm sure, to this sameness. One thing that we all want to do, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling bored, is do whatever you can to move into your body. My husband and I, when we find ourselves in moments of great duress, we love to partake of what is called laughing yoga. Laughter yoga. Laughter yoga. This is a real yoga, a form of yoga. A friend of mine, Francine Shore, I'm gonna tag her in the post after I get off. She is a professional laughing yoga teacher. And I imagine she's running classes, but let me tell you, you can make yourself happy. It's mechanical. You can just, I don't want to blast you. As insane as that looks, you can just laugh and change and make those endorphins happen. We have control of our moods. Isn't that good news? It's true, right? So that laughter, if you can find something funny to watch, hey, Seth Meyers and his writers knocked it out of the park with the whole riff on Trump's unfortunate interview with Axios. If you want to laugh, find things to laugh at. That is just laughter. You don't even need anything to stimulate laughter. Just laugh. Who needs an excuse? The ancient rabbis said, you must find joy, even if it means you have to be silly. Isn't that something? Silliness matters. Not just for kids. Kids are the ones, the little bundles of ids that they are. They are the ones who have the most ready access to the energy of Netzach, of bodily gladness. But I think it's important for our health to never lose touch with that. And it's especially important to our health now to get in touch with sensual pleasure, with being present in ourselves. So a couple people are watching, and I would invite you to join a little bit in the chat. What are some ways in which you access your bodily gladness, your sense of pleasure and joy? Just anything, I am a foodie. I love delicious food. And, if you really let yourself enjoy what you're eating, you don't have to eat that much of it. Eating is a meditation if you let it be. I mean, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I love watching or listening to something while I'm eating, but I still really enjoy what I'm eating. And frankly, I'm sensitive to what I'm listening and watching. If it's not right, I'm going to turn it off or find something else. We create experiences for ourselves, right? When you have a certain podcast on and then you're having a glass of wine or eating something. I mean, we are forced in the blessing of this sameness to find ways to create pleasurable experience. And I think it is forcing us to cultivate resilience. And it's going to serve us very well when things boot up again in whatever way that's going to look. All right. We are not going to be reliant on as much outside stimulus as we used to be. I think that's a strength. I think we're all in training, you know? So me jumping on, doing my little COVID coping live stream, I'm actually experiencing a little nitzach right now because I get a little adrenaline before I come into the podcast and the broadcast here, whatever the live stream. And I get to put some makeup on, which is, I'm a little vain. That feels good. It's fun. And who needs to do that these days? Oh my God, the lipstick industry must be, we'll talk about a nosedive with the masks but having a reason to put some makeup on for us ladies or fellas who like to do that, it's delicious. Right? So find the delicious in your life. I think that is the resonance of today's pull from the Kabbalah deck. Take a little screenshot of this for yourself. And when you're finding yourself bored and feeling hemmed in and restless or frustrated, meditate upon Netzach. And remember, it's time to come home to yourself. It is time to come back into your body and create some gladness. So that's my riff for today, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday, same time, same place. Bye-bye.